Welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron, and today I'm going to be introducing a new project I call Victim. Now, little backstory, the reason I named this truck Victim is because it got stolen from the guy that I am working on it for, and it was gone for 2 years, and him and his buddies and whatnot went and didn't have a lot of luck with, you know, people helping them find it, and so to speak. So they actually put forth the effort and tracked it down and found it themselves. So the truck was gone for 2 years. As you saw in the thumbnail picture, this is not what it looked like when it was stolen. What it looked like when it was stolen is right here. And then it got stolen. It was gone for 2 years. Somebody had terrible taste in vehicles, did this to it in my opinion, and this is what we have. So it's a 1986 K20 short bed step side. I'll bring you guys in and show you everything a little closer and explain to you what we're going to do. But it's been LS swapped, which we're definitely going to go further into because we're going to do a lot of work there, and we're just going to have to do a lot of work everywhere. There's a good chance that this might end up being the guy's daughter's truck. She really likes it, and so when it leaves here, it's going to be safe and dependable for anybody to drive. But I'll get the other camera, we'll get in here closer, I'll show you what it's got going on with it and kind of go over what we're going to do. Alright, we got the other camera. We're going to get in here, get a little bit closer view. This sun is bright this morning, so I'm going to do the best that I can to show you guys around this thing without you being blinded by the light from the camera, because I'm being blinded just being out here looking. But we'll start at the front, work our way through to the back, and show you everything they did and messed up and whatnot when the truck was stolen. So first things first, you guys checked out this front. I'm gonna give you a second, look at it good. See if you notice anything that's just blatantly wrong. If you do, put it down in the comments. I'll tell you guys what it is here in a second. Our grill molding upside down. Squared off spot supposed to be, they're backwards. Squared off spot supposed to be on top, rounded supposed to be on the bottom. The bottom piece is missing. I have one, so we'll fix that. Core support, as you can see, is painted bright red along with Chevy emblem. We're not a big fan of that. We're gonna strip all this stuff down, go back to black. It has had a LS swap with a carburetor, which I know people do that, but why are you going to go through the effort and do an LS swap if you're just going to put a carburetor on it? I mean, it is what it is. Certain applications, I guess maybe a carburetor would work better, but we're going to get a factory truck intake and either get a PSI harness on a computer, or most likely we'll run a Holley terminator. So we'll get rid of the MSD ignition control, we'll get rid of all this crap. AC is there, does not work. We're gonna get all that fixed. We've got bright red simulated bead locks. We've got red. Let me just make it easy for you guys. We're gonna get rid of all the red. Like, he wants the truck black. As you saw in the thumbnail, the truck used to be copper. When it got stolen, they painted it. And I think it looked good copper, but this is a half-assed decent black paint job. So we'll go back to we're just gonna leave it black, but we're gonna get rid of, I mean, the underside of the hood is bright red. And warning, dark glasses and eye protection may be required. Check this out. This is just, I can't even find words to describe. Dash pad, door panels, I mean everything is gauge bezel. Like everything is painted and clear coated bright red, like red carpet. Door jambs are all red. Like it's all gotta go. Like all the red's gotta go. We're gonna get rid of all the red, go to black. Same thing with the bed. The bed's had some kind of crappy bed liner, red bed liner put in it. We're gonna see what we can do to either get it out or off or what have you, and put something better in there. We got screws coming through the cab to hold stereo equipment. Once again, bad simulated bead locks. I'll probably repaint the whole tailgate just because it'll be better. And then, yeah, just working our way around it. Wiring. We'll leave that set at that. It just, yeah. So, seat, not even bolted in. Yeah, seat's not bolted in. Just sitting there. Might be a little bit safer if you put some bolts in it. It does have one of these cool overhead speaker dome light setup deals. I'm actually a fan of those because they just go in place of the factory headliner and you can put more speakers in. I mean, I'm not a big stereo buff, but if you're gonna do stereos, I like these a lot better than the big old holes hacked in the doors or the door panels or whatever. So all this red's got to go. All the wiring has got to go. Like I said, we're going to switch over from carburetor to fuel injection. We're going to clean everything up the best we can. And then the guy that owns the truck sent me a whole list of everything he wanted me to do to it. So we'll go through that as the project goes on. But for today and for this video, we're just going to start stripping everything down and getting it to a point where we can get started on going back in the right direction. Probably gonna, well, I'm gonna strip the whole interior. I'll get the grill and everything stripped out of it. I'll probably take the tailgate off of it. We can go ahead and pull the intake and carburetor and MSD and wiring and all that out of it, and so on and so forth. And then we'll get a parts list together and get some parts ordered for it. So let's get started. Okay, well, I got over here and I was looking at this to see what tools I was going to need to pull some of this stuff apart. And as far as the grill goes, you just reach in there and pull the drywall screws out. And same thing with the headlight doors, just reach in there, pull the drywall screws out. In other words, really, none of this stuff is even secured or fastened. Oh, this screw might be doing something, but I get into stuff like this all the time, and it's just, I mean, it's harder and more effort in the long run to do stuff wrong than it is to just take your time and do it right. So this is just all. Got zip ties holding it, which I'm not saying that's bad. I mean, I've had broken stuff that I've put zip ties on before, but it's not broken. So it's just, yeah. That side was zip tied, but it's not. Let me go get a wire cutter. I'll be right back. I'm gonna have to talk to the guy that owns the truck. He said he was okay with the black grill. He just wanted the red gone. But this paint job, not the greatest, and it's all chipping off. And it looks like that door's cracked. There's a couple broken pieces on the grill, so I'll talk to him and see if he wants to keep it. I can make it work and sit in there all right. If he, from the sounds of it, he wants to make everything right and nice. So I'm assuming this grill's not bad, just needs new tabs put in it and stuff, but like I said, we'll see. So, alright, I've seen a lot of people on social media asking, how do you get this off? They can't figure out how to take it off. How do you take it off? If you already know, that's great. I'm happy for you. If you don't, this is for you guys. 3/8 socket or wrench or whatever. You got to take the headlight door out. If you take the lights out, it's easier also. But there's speed nuts or sheet metal nuts on little studs on the back side here. You get in there, take those loose, and then this pulls out and pulls off, which I'll show you in a minute. But first, I got to get the light out of the way. And so let me just reach in here, pull out some more drywall screws. I'm glad this thing's got all these drywall screws in it. It's going to save me some money when I go to remodel my little house over there. Of course, that one's stripped out. Now that, there's not even any in the bottom. And we've got the spring thing. Man, this is somebody. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm going to take the high road and be nice, but this is not correct. Let's just say that. Okay, still can't do it. And then, we don't know how to put headlight adjusters in. So let's just take self-tappers and screw the headlight bucket to the core support. So, that's good too. Hope you guys can see all this. This is, I guess if it's not yours, you don't care about it. I don't know what the deal is. I guess if it is, I don't know. If you take it, is it yours? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'll stop talking about all that crap. I'm going to fix it up right for the guys that actually own it. And we'll make it nice. And we'll do it right, because that's what we like to do. In the meantime, take I got these little clips on the back with speed nuts on them, and I'm gonna have to go dig through my stuff and find them, because there's supposed to be a piece that goes in the end here that slides into here, and this slides into it, and it's not there, and we need that so all this buckles down right. So I'm sure I've got some laying around somewhere. We'll find those, but just keep getting it all apart. Let's see how many screws it takes to get this headlight off. looks like they put self-tappers in these lights down here too. So we'll go get another socket so we can rip those off. Oh, another self-tapper. They might be onto something here. Maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe I should just start self-tappering my headlight buckets in, and then you don't have to worry about adjusters breaking. No, we're not going to do that. Still got one adjuster in this one. All right, now what? Need a 1/2 inch to take the horns out. That's not even doing anything anymore. There's no intake. Grab our headlight spring before we lose it. And it looks like we need a, probably I don't know, I'll figure it out. But I'm gonna go grab more tools. We'll get the rest of that stuff off and move on to the next thing. All right, well, the sun finally came all the way up and decided it was gonna be hot. So it is what it is. I've been plugging away slowly, just staying steady, working. I got everything stripped off the front here. And I also went ahead, pulled out the fan shroud, disconnected the radiator because I'm going to go ahead and get the radiator out of the way because it'll make it easier to do all the work I need to do in here. And it'll make it easier to do cleaning and painting because we want to clean up the engine compartment area also. But I'm going to try to do it without pulling the motor. Like, I think I can get the fenders and everything okay. The frame doesn't look bad. We'll see. If I end up happening to pull the motor, that's fine. I'm not totally against it, but if I don't need to, there's no reason to. So that's the thing. Another thing I found, tranny cooler lines are gonna have to be all redone because somebody just took some brake lines and literally ran them straight on top of the inner fender, around the back of the header and down into the trans. This one, I guess, wasn't long enough or couldn't get the right bend on it or something, so they ran a piece of braided hose, which isn't even right, and it had like 5 hose clamps on it. So, needless to say, tranny cooler lines are gonna get completely redone. But I got all this stuff up front, stripped, taken down, whatever. All I got left to do to pull the radiator is take my mounts off on top. We'll get it pulled out and out of the way, and then we'll get in the engine compartment. Well, I still need to I'm gonna completely pull the whole wiring harness out of the engine compartment because it's hacked up and cut up and painted red and everything else. And depending on how bad the rest of the wiring is as I go through it, we may just put a wiring harness kit in this truck, or I may fix up what's already here and make it work. So that'll all kind of depend on how bad it is. But let's get this radiator out and then I can climb up there and I'm gonna start unhooking everything. We're gonna pull the intake off and the carburetor and all that off now, and we'll tape up the intake ports because it'll be fine with the hood closed. I want to get everything that I can stripped so that when it comes down to it, with the exception of like taking doors and hoods and stuff off to paint, I want to get everything stripped, so like the next time I work on this thing, I'm moving back in the positive direction instead of continuing in the negative direction. So we'll get this radiator out. We'll start pulling stuff off the motor. I happened to notice, I guess I didn't show you guys why I had it all up close, but I'm looking around and underneath the red, this core support actually used to be yellow. And there's spots where there's paint missing and stuff on that inner fender. And it used to be yellow, and there's some bolts and stuff on the battery tray that used to be yellow. So I don't know if maybe when they were painting stuff they painted it yellow and then changed their mind and decided they wanted it red, or what. But this thing's a multicolor clown show from what I can tell. I'm really curious to see, there's an extension cord that comes out of the firewall, goes down under the truck and runs back. I'm really interested to see what's wired in with the extension cord, because I mean that's beyond what I'm capable of doing. I might learn something there. Yellow, yellow. I also didn't tell you guys that, don't worry, this is just water. But I didn't tell you guys when I went to drain the water out of the radiator, didn't have a petcock in it. It's just a plain pipe plug, so we'll have to fix that too. Alright, well, it's time to get up in the engine compartment and start undoing wiring and tearing stuff down. But in the meantime, why I have the socket out here that I believe is the right size, I'm going to go ahead and take these simulated bead locks off, because some of you may like them. The owner of the truck may like them, which is fine. I can't stand them. They're driving me crazy. So I'm going to take them off and put them inside with the rest of the parts, and if we want to paint them and put them back on later, that's fine. But for now, with them being red and everything, they're driving me crazy, so I'm getting them out of here. That looks so much better. I'd honestly rather just have stainless bolts in the holes where the bead lock's supposed to be, because it's not really a bead lock, it's just a simulated bead lock. So yeah, get the other 3 of those off and I'll feel better about it. Alright, I didn't realize it even until after I took them off, but the simulated bead locks on the truck aren't even all the same. These are Mickey Thompson ones, and they actually line up with the wheels and everything, and these are completely different, and somebody drilled their own holes to make them line up. So that makes me feel even better about taking them off. They've been bugging me since the truck got here. I mean, if they were black or something, that'd be fine, but the red's just too much. So anyways, we got those off. There wasn't any reason to take them off. They didn't need to be pulled off. They were just bugging me, and we're gonna have to do something about it anyways. So we got those done, and now we can move on. All right, well, we made it this far. Happening to overcome a few things I'm not normally used to doing, like standing on a stool to work in one of these trucks, and my tripod. None of my tripods were tall enough to be able to get up over the core support where you could actually see what I was doing in here, so I had to get creative and make some stuff happen, but we got her done. I got myself up here, I got the tripod up here, we're good to go. All we're really gonna do under the hood for now is get this carbon intake manifold off of here and get the MSD and all that wiring and crap that we're not going to use anymore out of here. Get all this fuel system stuff out of here, and then next time we revisit it, we will be redoing everything. For one thing, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but these wires coming off this MSD go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on top of these coils like 8 times. So that won't be happening anymore, I guarantee it. I can't wait to get all this crap out of here so I can show you guys what they got running this thing. It's crazy. It blows me away. But if you do this kind of stuff, or you go buy one of these trucks to you know, build for yourself or whatever, you're gonna run into this stuff. I mean, I'm not harping on anybody for doing anything wrong or saying that, you know, I'm better than anybody else or anything like that. And you never know. The person that did this truck, in their opinion, they might have done a great job and it might look awesome. And to them and their friends, or maybe you watching or whatever, it's okay and it looks awesome. Everybody's got their own opinion and their feelings on how stuff is and whatever, and other people have different opinions. My opinion is that there's a lot of scary work done on this truck. Scary work done on this truck. I wouldn't feel comfortable driving it down the road, and we're gonna make it a lot better. But like I said, that's my opinion. So, and I'm pretty sure that's the opinion of the owner also, and that's why they sent it over here to get worked on, and they're not out driving it around. So we'll fix it up for them. A lot of this work was done after the truck was stolen, but as far as I've been told, I think this LS was already in here previous to that. So I don't know if they did a bunch of stuff to it after it was stolen, or if this is how it was initially installed when they put it in. I don't know, but as we go through it, we'll go through everything. I haven't even looked at mounts yet. I don't know if they used aftermarket mounts. I don't know if they built their own mounts. I don't know anything about it. Except this fuel line won't come off. I think this was the one. Yeah, this is loose, which I think was sucking air, and that's why I was having trouble getting this to start. It ran for me one time, but then I tried to start it again to move it before I started on the video so I could put it in the shade, and it didn't want to run again. So, but it might have been because this was loose, but for ease of performance right now, we would just take that off and get all of this stuff off and get our carburetor out of here. Alright, well, I wasn't sure what bolts were holding that intake on, so I needed to get down to where I could see and now I see what they are, so I'm going to run and get the wrenches I need, or the tools I need to get that off. We'll get it yanked out of there. Alright. Time to remove the intake. If we can get to the bolts with all this extra crap that shouldn't be in here. Alright, let's see what we can do with this. Alright, carbureted regulator, which probably isn't hefty enough to break down. Well, you know what, it might not have had, I don't know what it has for a fuel pump, but we got a carbureted regulator, a fuel filter that you never want to use, pressure gauge going to our thing. That's way too much on rubber line hanging over the side of the motor. Don't do this at home. Got all our grounds for our coils. Well, all our grounds for the MSD controller really stuck on the coil mounting bracket. How stuck this is. Not too bad. See if I can get a bunch of these leaves out of here before I lift it off. Alright, there's a lot more than just leaves down in here. I'm gonna have to run like 15 extension cords out here with the shop vac and get this all cleaned up before I tape off the stuff here. But let's get some wire cutters and see if we can't start getting some of this MSD stuff out of here. I don't know how well you guys can see, but rather than dragging the shop vac and everything out here trying to clean all that up and whatnot, when I go to start putting stuff back together, I'll have room up on the apron where I can put this up in the shade and everything, and we'll be closer to outlets and blah 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 and all that stuff. So I just took blue shop towels for now and stuffed them down in the ports just to keep anything from getting in there, and that should block it out just fine. So that'll work for now. and we'll worry about the rest later. So, like I said, I went and got some cutters, and I am unhooking the MSD controller, because that's the next thing that we're not gonna need where we're going. So and somebody kept Zip Tie Company in business. Alright, I think I have everything disconnected from that, except the screws that are holding it on. Let's get the screws off and we'll see if we can't get that out. Another thing I'm seeing here, once again, we pretty much just got drywall screws, but anytime you're mounting any kind of ignition box or controller or anything like that, like this, they usually come with the screws that they recommend you use on them. But I always put some type of rubber in between the box and anything metal. Like I say, if you buy it new, it usually comes with like a mounting kit, but you always want to have an isolator between the ignition box and anything metal, which this one does not. Just sitting right against the firewall, drywall screws holding it in, so we don't want to do that. You can see, I don't know if you guys can see, but like I said, I'll bring the other camera up in here in a minute once we get done, but there's corrosion between the back of this controller and the firewall there. All right. Got our box out. I just unplugged it because it should be easier to get the harnesses out. Yep. There's that. So, there's a lot of mess in here. A lot of mess. I'm gonna pull all the stereo equipment out, and the owner of the truck said that they would get the stereo equipment or get the stereo system redone, or they'd do it themselves or something like that, so I don't have to do anything with that, which is fine with me. I don't have anything against stereo systems per se, but I stopped messing with them a long time ago. so I still know how to do it. But if they'd rather do it, I'd rather have them do it. Alright, I'm gonna go take another 5-minute break, get some water, get out of the sun for a few minutes. Then we'll come back and get the rest of this wiring harness out of here. Get the rest of these. There's so much crap. We're gonna keep working. I got pretty much everything out of the engine compartment that we're gonna take out, at least for right now. I got the wiring harness stripped the rest of the way out. I pulled the windshield washer reservoir, pulled the coolant overflow reservoir. All the wiring harness is out, and all that stuff. So I don't want this whole video to just be about, hey, I'm taking the truck apart. I kind of want to do something that's going to make it look a little bit better, or kind of take it back in the right direction. And I can't stand walking out of my shop seeing this red front end on the black truck. It's bugging me. So I started sanding it. I'm trying to smooth some of the rougher stuff out where there's layers and layers of paint that had chips underneath it. There's the yellow I was telling you all about earlier. There's yellow over there, yellow over there. But there's like spots that the paint chipped, and then they painted over it, and they painted over it, and painted over it again. Trying to smooth it out. I'm using 80, and then going from 80 to 180, and then I'll go to 320, and then after the 320 I'll put paint on it. That's just going to be like a semi-gloss black. I don't like doing glossy, shiny behind the grill and stuff because it takes away from the front end of the truck. So I'm going to try to get it as smooth as I can, and spray it semi-gloss black. But for right now, it's Sunday afternoon. My daughter's already called me 3 times wondering where the heck I'm at, wanting me to come home and spend time with her. And out there in the sun with the 107-degree heat index, that core support is so hot, it's like burning my hands through the sandpaper. So I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna go home. I'll come back first thing in the morning. And before I keep going on teardown and finding out everything that's wrong, I'm gonna go ahead and finish sanding down that core support, and we'll get it painted. So I'll see you in the morning. All right, so it's the next morning. It's nice and cool. I got over here while we still had some shade, and my goal is to get this all sanded down, taped off, cleaned up, and painted before we get into the heat index today. Right now we got some dew on stuff, so we gotta wait for the dew to cook off anyways. But I'm only thoroughly sanding this top piece here that you'll really see when you open the hood and stuff. And then down in here, this isn't clear coat and stuff like it was up here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and scuff this really good with Scotch-Brite, get something for the paint to stick to, and we'll be able to spray that. So I gotta get this sanded good. We'll get that all scuffed up. We'll get everything taped off, and just keep on moving. So. I don't know what kind of paint they used on this, but it's some like thick, it's got to be like tractor paint or something. It's some thick, hard stuff. So da-de-dee, da-de-da, we're just gonna sit here and sand this down, so speed it up for you guys. Sit back and enjoy. Okay, I got this all sanded down with 80 and 180, and now I've got gray Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to use that for my final sand on top, and I'm going to use it to scuff up everything down in here. So I'm going to go fill up an air tank. I got like a transferred tank to fill up tires or whatever. Got paint dust all over me. I'm going to go fill that up, bring it out here so I can blow all this off, and then I'll wipe it all down, or I'll scuff it good with the Scotch-Brite, come back, wipe it all down. We'll be ready to tape it off and paint it, so hang tight. I got it all blown off. I'm on to my last level of sanding, scuffing, whatever you want to call it. This is just smoothing it out, basically. Making it so we don't have any deep scratches in our paint. And I'll just go along and do this whole top up here where I've already sanded. And then I'm going to scuff all that down there like I said. We'll get it all scuffed out, ready to put paint on, and then we'll tape it. After we tape it, we'll clean it really good. We'll spray some paint on it. So I'm just going to get this all rubbed down really well, and we'll be ready. This is not cleaning to prep for paint. I'm just wiping all the dust and stuff off of the existing paint for tape. For one thing, it'll make the tape stick better. Two, I don't want to leave all this dust on the good paint, or it's not good paint, but the paint that's already here that we're going to make better. I want to make sure that I get all the dust off of it before I stick the tape on it. And then we'll tape it off. I need some better tape. All I've got right now is just this 1-inch stuff, so I'm going to have to put a lot of tape on it, but whatever, doesn't really matter. I just noticed this light's on backwards. That's why it's sticking out so funny. They're formed to fit the fender and somebody put it on backwards. We'll fix that too. Alright. This one's wrong too. It's upside down. It's faced the right way, but it's upside down, so that means it should go over there. And that one probably goes over here, if I had to guess. Need to get this done fairly quickly and get this tape peeled back off, because I don't want it sitting out here in the sun baking onto the paint. So we're close. I got over here early like I wanted to and got most of it done before the sun got over here. So put a couple coats of paint on it and peel the tape back, and it should be good. Alright, I'm going to get a piece of poster board to block off that condenser, and yeah, and then I'll bring out some rags with some cleaner, Prepsol on them. We'll wipe it all down, we'll spray it black. Put that there. I'm not concerned with a little bit of overspray getting on the condenser. I just don't want to plug off any fins, and I got to paint this right here. So that's the purpose of that there. I got some Prepsol on my rag here, just going through the sanding. Should have taken a lot of the dirt and stuff off, so all I'm really doing now is just wiping off some dust, and mostly paint dust. Might be a little bit of dirt here and there, but nothing major. So okay, we're gonna let that all dry off and whatever for a few minutes. I'm gonna go get our paint. I'll come back. I know you guys are probably saying, man, you didn't tape a lot of stuff off. You're right. This bumper, I can show you. The bumper's already got overspray on it. Like, I can take my fingernail, scrape it off, so we're gonna have to clean the bumper anyways. But I'm spraying down inside here. I shouldn't get a lot of overspray out here, and I shouldn't get any overspray out here. So I just put it on there for a precautionary measure. The bumper's gonna get cleaned and buffed. The entire truck is gonna get cleaned and buffed. So I'm not gonna directly spray any overspray on anything, but if we get a little bit on there, it'll get buffed off when we buff it. So I'm gonna go get the paint. We'll slap some paint on here. All right, I just got some semi-gloss black paint. I'm thinking 2 coats should be plenty. I'm gonna do like a dust or a tack coat, depending on what you wanna call it. And then I'll go back and put a good coat on it. I'm gonna do this corner first because the sun's hitting it. And it's not hot, but it's a little bit warmer. So we'll just get our tack coat on here, like so. Looking better already. may notice I'm not using my fingernail to like grab and peel the edge of the tape. The reason is because if you do that, it's a good way to put scratches in your clear coat. If you sit there and take your fingernail and you're digging to get the edge of the tape, it's a good way to scratch it. You can use a razor blade if you're really careful, or what I do is just like where the tape is overlapped, I would just go and grab it in the overlap and pull it. So just I guess kind of a stupid little pointer or whatever you want to call it, but anyways, got her all cleaned up, all painted up, and we'll give it a few minutes to dry and we'll come back and take a closer look. Don't pay attention to the bottom of the hood, but the core support looks so much better. It's kind of glossy looking and bright, shiny right now, which a little bit of that will stay, but for the most part it's going to dull out. And overall, I think it turned out pretty dang good. So should be dry enough now. So much better, so much better. All right, next thing, I'm gonna get in here and start gutting this interior, because it's another thing on the list that we got to do. So cut this thing out and big old mess. So I'm gonna get the other camera out here, get some tools out here, and we'll get to it. Start tearing the interior out of this. All right, this thing kinda one of those, how much can I pull out of here without taking any screws out? So I know the seat's not bolted in. We'll go ahead and get it out of the way. I think I'm gonna pull this speaker box out first, because it's starting to tick me off. Alright, now maybe we can get the seat out of here. Or maybe not. All right. All right. Cell phones. Cool. Alright, this wasn't even hooked up. Okay, got this one, got another amp over here. Go ahead and, that's the one that's got the cell tapper that runs through the back of the cab. They did a really good job of hooking all the wires up. You can just pull them all right out. Probably sound a lot better if they were a little bit tighter. Alright, I'm going to take these amps and speakers and whatnot and put them away to save them for later, and then we'll keep digging. Looks like we got one screw that's kind of sort of one broken off screw. It's holding that. Oh, we got something else down here too. Yep, another drywall screw. Two screws, and the door panel's off. Doesn't appear to be anything holding this in. Doesn't appear to be anything holding this in. Man, this interior strip down may be easier than we planned. Okay. Gotta pull that door panel off on that side. Get this carpet out of here. Whole bunch of wiring needs to go away. Speakers. Alright. Get that door panel off. Alright. Got these speaker deals up here. And they appear to just be screwed to the side of the truck also, but you can't get to the screws. I'm assuming they're inside these boxes. Somebody changed the cab on this thing, or needed to get to the cab for something. I'll show you guys in a little bit, but they punched holes back here to access the top of the cab mounts. Alright. Okay. Alright, I pretty much got the carpet pulled out. I got another one of these speaker boxes I got to pull out on that side. And then I don't know if you guys can see it from where the camera is sitting or not, but I did show you earlier in the video, it's got this cool overhead deal here. And I'm going to leave it in for right now because I don't have anywhere to put it. But we are going to come back and we got to do the same thing we did up front and paint everything in here. Paint the insides of the doors, paint the door jambs, all that stuff, and then we're going back with a black interior so that everything matches and looks right. So anyways, I'm going to get that other speaker out. I'm going to get the carpet the rest of the way out, and that's about it. We'll do a little walk around and see what all's going on, and yeah. I got her all stripped down as far as we're going to go for now. And as far as we're going to go for now is all the stuff that's not going back on it is getting replaced. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. Whatever is off. So I went ahead and stuck the seat back in here just because I don't feel like carrying it to put it somewhere else. And it'll be fine in here for now. And I left this headliner deal in here, but that'll have to come out when we paint. So that will come out when we paint. Doors are all stripped down, dash is all stripped down, carpet's out, so on and so forth. But just do a quick little walk around. The outside of the truck, like, we got to paint the red on the tailgate, but the outside of the truck is not that bad. Looks so much better without the wheel simulators on there. We got a Scottsdale badge on this side. That is night and day different. It makes the truck better to look at for me. I got to get a Scottsdale badge for this side, and this side's in good shape too. So old Victim is making moves in the right direction. I'm going to put together a parts list. I'm going to send it to the gentleman that owns this truck and let him start sourcing parts and getting what we need and whatever else. And then once all the parts come in, we'll get her back over there. We'll get her up underneath the apron, and I might make another video of all the paint work and paint correction first, and then when we get all the parts, we'll go through and redo the interior, rewire the truck, get the motor like it's supposed to be, whatever. And I'm wandering around with you guys, and you may be wondering why, and that's because I had to come over here and check on my old girl Pennywise in the trailer, because we have to go back to that Forever Giving junkyard again tomorrow. Wow, still full of oil. That's interesting. Okay, that's what I wanted to check, because I've told you guys 100 times since the head gaskets let go on this thing and I fixed it. It's been using a lot of oil. You can tell this valve cover's leaking bad, but it's been using a little bit of oil. It's been using a little bit of water. I'm gonna put some water in it, but it's not that low. But anyways, we're going to the Forever Giving junkyard again tomorrow. It's a place that that 80 dually came from. The place that lifted 4x4, I don't think I've showed you guys yet, came from. And there's a couple other trucks up front that came from there also, none of which are mine. They all belong to my buddy. But we got to go over there tomorrow and get another truck. It's going to be a parts truck for one of the other trucks we already have over here. So we're getting Pennywise ready, and then I got to go pick my daughter up from school, and then I'll probably go home and edit this video so I can put it up for you guys. So I know this wasn't the greatest video. I had kind of a short week and needed to do something, and I was needing to get started on that truck. Getting started on projects is the hardest thing for me, and then once I get started on them, then I'm good to go. Like, getting them Actually in the rotation and doing something to them is the hardest part, but we got it started. We got the motor stripped down some. We got everything stripped off of it and whatnot. So we got a good start. We know what we need. We got a parts list ready. So that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.